Hello and welcome to my first online video of flower arranging. The previous attempts I've made have been somewhat poor, so I thought I'd treat myself to a crash course in flower arranging, and in the last 24 hours I've gone from this sort of thing, which is where I historically just stuffed flowers into a vase and left it there, into something far more sophisticated and hopefully far more beautiful. The first thing you'll need for flower arranging is a container such as a bowl or a vase. And the second thing I would recommend is some absorbent foam, some Oasis. Careful to get the green version, which is for use with fresh flowers, and not the grey version, which is for artificial. So you want to cut yourself a block that is roughly the right size for your container. There's handy markings, and the beauty of Oasis is it absorbs up to 10 times its own weight in water. Now, it's not as straightforward as you might think. You don't just shove it into the water. You have to gently rest it and let it absorb the water gradually. I'd also recommend a little bit of nutrients, maybe something like this, just to give the flowers a bit more of a kickstart on their journey. This should preserve the bouquet for maybe 4 or 5 days. What I'm using today is a selection of fresh garden greenery, such as ivy for the foliage, for the base, and then some typical June flowers of the UK of this time of year. So some yellows and some pinky purples, just to add a bit more colour. So once the block of Oasis is fully submerged, you can take it out, put it into your container. It is quite heavy by now, you would be surprised. Then in it goes like so. Now, very important that you don't pull the stalks in and out too many times. That creates air pockets inside the Oasis, which are not what you want. So what you need to do is take your greenery, you want to trim it down. You can use secateurs or scissors for this. Just be delicate with the flowers, as they are somewhat delicate. So you need to make an arrangement. If you can visualize each layer at a time. As you build the layers up, the bouquet takes shape. So firstly, I'm going for a fairly low level pattern. So yeah, an angled cut is actually to be desired, just like that. And in it goes into the Oasis, just like that. Letting it hang over the edge. Then I'm going to add some more ivy in this case. I'll go for this one, I think. Just trim that down. So the next layer I'm going to use this fern, give it some more darker colour there at the base. And these can go in like so. It's important not to have too many leaves submerged in the water, as these would rot and harm the arrangement. There you can see it's taking shape as it builds up. This is a pine, typical of a Christmas tree you might see. So once you have a first base layer, then you want to start building up your flowers to give it a bit more height. When it comes to your flowers, it's a good idea to arrange them in odd numbers, I've heard. This is so that it doesn't look too rigid. You want to look as natural as you can. Create the natural environment. Yes, let's see where I'm going to go with the... Yes, it's often a good idea to start with your larger flowers. So I have 3 of these. So I'm just going to trim those down and then insert them in an arrangement like so. In the arrangement, I think that's about. If they're not particularly, as I say, if they don't want them to look too rigid, if they're not particularly even, that doesn't matter. So in they go like so, and then I have a 3rd one here. I think I'll trim a little bit off that. And that can go in like this. Now in this case I've gone for one particular flower, that's one of our favourites, valerian. There's going to be the centrepiece in the middle, so I'm going to trim that down. So it's like you're forming points of a star, building up to focus in the centre. There you can see you want to create a sort of a rounded effect to the arrangement. So there where we can see it taking shape now. And as I said, this is a perfectly beautiful arrangement already, but you could easily add more layers, so I'll do so now. Some complementary yellows to the arrangement. That's taking shape nicely now, isn't it? And I'm just going to add a few more of these. These are lovely little daisies that add more style to the arrangement. You can add as many of these as you want. So I'll just add a few more in there. Beautiful. Don't worry if they've not quite come out yet, they will continue to bloom in the oasis. If you do decide you want to trim an arrangement down, it's better to use a new hole. So this one was a bit long, I've noticed, so I can do that. Don't use the same hole because that, as I say, will create air pockets, but there we can be inserting that into the base there like so. Yes, the final few there, where we're missing a few of those, around the back I think. And there we have our finished arrangement, beautifully presentable. So yeah, the complete version from beginning to end. Thank you for listening.